Well, have they lost their mind completely overnight? Did they just completely go crazy and start babbling on and throwing fits and being angry? And just overnight it happened. Did they have a stroke or something? What's going on? They're making me crazy. Well, I'll tell you a little story. One day, I think it was about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm laying in bed and I'm hearing banging on the door. And of course, I don't get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I peek out the window. I'm not going to the door. And I'm like, what's going on? And then it gets quiet. And then I get a text message from my sister about, I don't know, 15 minutes later. And she's like, hey, Mom was just outside of my house and she was beating on the door and walking around and beating on the windows. And then a few minutes later, I hear bang, 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 bang on my windows. So this time I get up, I put some pants on, I go to the door, and there's my mom. And she's just like out of her mind, kind of crazy over something. She's like, something about her house, the toilet was running, just, nonsense. It was not an issue at all, but she was freaking out. And evidently she had been walking around the neighborhood back and forth between our houses, and she was frantic. And this was the time when she was going through her stage, and she was just forgetful. And it was just mild dementia at that time, forgetting things. And so we're like, oh my God, Mom's lost her mind, or she had a stroke, or some kind of crazy thing has happened. What's going on? And I'm sure some of you have had experiences where, you're in this early stage of a parent or a loved one repeating themselves and things going on. And all of a sudden it seemed like overnight, you're like, oh my God, they've got full on Alzheimer's. So what's very possibly going on and happens all the time and catches you off guard, you don't realize this is going to happen, is when someone is beginning stages of dementia, they also are not doing habits like they used to, things like brushing their teeth all the time. They'll forget. And then you ask them about it and they say, yeah, I brush my teeth. Or one of the things was my mother, she would keep wearing the same clothes quite a lot. She developed a thing where she just would like the same clothes, or she would just keep wearing them. She would sleep in them even. We didn't know she was doing this. We'd be like, finally, like, Mom, didn't you have those pants on like a couple days ago, Our problem was as our mother would leave and stay in North Carolina with her husband and then come back, and we'd only see her for a few days. And this is how her symptoms built up over time. And we couldn't get any kind of control over it until it had progressed almost too far. But what was going on with our mother, and is probably going on with your loved one, if they seem to just rapidly progress super fast and you can't figure out what's going on, they probably have a UTI, a urinary tract infection. Each of my friends whose parents have gone through the dementia to Alzheimer's stage, all of them had the same type of experience. It caught them off guard, and it was crazy for them. And that was their parent had gotten a UTI, and some of the symptoms of this UTI is they start to lose their mind. And listen to me, if you think, they should be checked quite often for UTIs at this point in stage, especially if they're not bathing as much as they used to. And once this starts to happen, it seems like this, if they go too far with the UTI, my mother had a UTI for quite a long time as it kept progressing, and this accelerated her into further dementia, because it can literally kill some people, can make them that sick. And so you need to, if you're experiencing this, get it checked sooner rather than later. It's a difficult thing because it requires your loved one to pee in a cup or do some kind of test. They generally don't like to go to the doctor at all, and it's rather difficult, depending on their stages. If they do have a UTI, They don't want to sit still. They're rather combative. So you may look into a lab or something that you can take the sample to. And this is also why it's very important to get the proper documents and paperwork that gives you permission to take care of things in their name and for them if they're starting to experience. It's very difficult at this early stage. Very difficult because you're not sure whether they should be giving up or do they want to give up some things out of their name or put other people, even their sons and daughters, onto documents. And if they're married, sometimes it can be kind of hard to get that. So you may want to talk to an attorney about that, getting power of attorney medically and things like that. So you can take care of certain things, especially if they're older and maybe like my mom had remarried and things weren't in his name to the sense where he could take care of certain things. So we had to get our names, my sister and I get our names of some power of medical power of attorney so that we could handle stuff for her like this, because we got caught off guard with the UTI. She went from just forgetting certain things, she went away and was gone for like a month. And by the time she came back, she was like over the top by that point in time. And she had had a long-term UTI. They were older. He didn't take her to the doctor to get checked. Here's another thing you should know. We got her checked for a UTI. One of the times, because you get them quite often when you have dementia and things and you're not bathing correctly. One of the times she got so sick from UTI, she was borderline dying. And so, this is another thing with hospice. We'll go over that in the teaching sessions. But she almost died, had a UTI. We had it checked. The labs, let me tell you something about the labs. Unless you have a really good one, you're almost better off having 2 labs check it, because it came back negative. And yet, and you're thinking, okay, they have dementia. Maybe they've gone into full Alzheimer's, all this. Well, she still had the UTI. They just didn't check it correctly, or they have a bunch of buffoons working there, because more than once they had the UTI checked at this lab and it came back negative, and then we had it checked again and she did have a UTI, making her sicker and sicker. And it causes whatever dementia and things to accelerate from what we found. It weakens their body tremendously. So this is just a tip for you about if your loved one who has dementia or Alzheimer's, but suddenly goes full on crazy, like you think they had a stroke, one of the first things to check is for a UTI, because it's very common to happen. So anyway, this is Daniel from Alzheimer's and Love. We have a series, my sister and I, who have experienced 4 years now, maybe a little over 4 years, of our mother slipping from dementia into full Alzheimer's. And the experiences and the steps and the things we have gone through that are very serious issues and will catch you off guard, from everything from people trying to get themselves on the wheel, or people trying to steal money or scam money from them, people not wanting to help you without certain documents in your name, trying to sell assets for a parent, and having to need legal documentation to do that, dealing with insurance, all these crazy things that all of a sudden you realize that, are part of someone's life. And then when you are a son or a daughter or somebody trying to handle things, on top of them not being able to tell you where they have put documents, what company is handling their information, all kinds of stuff that you know, if someone had a different disease and was sick, they could tell you, I put that in this file, I have that in a safety deposit box in the bank, this particular bank or whatever, my account information is here, all that kind of stuff. But once they slip into a very forgetful state, like my mother went into, we discovered she canceled her insurance, she canceled her life insurance. We don't know why. She was just, you know, losing her mind with a UTI and having dementia and all this stuff. And there are literally hundreds of things you haven't thought of yet if you have a loved one who's just slipping into these types of things. So we are creating these videos, and we've made a instructional series teachings to help somebody. These series will help you navigate through preventing tremendous amounts of stress that you will experience. There is no amount of money that you wouldn't pay not to experience the added stress that can come along with it. Plus the safety, the safeguards in dealing with things you may not expect from people trying to get your parents' assets once they start slipping into this stage. Like I tell people that a cell phone and a credit card is like a nuclear bomb in the hands of somebody slipping into dementia in the early stages, just like a set of car keys. So anyway, if you'd like to get this series and help us to keep promoting, it's very expensive to create videos, have them edited, run ads as far as promoting awareness and safety and protection for Alzheimer's. There's plenty of medical stuff out there that you can look up that basically is running you in circles. They provide no help. It's all like governmental or social stuff. You know how all those things run. They didn't help us at all with what we were looking for. It was just like looking up on Google and trying to find information about Alzheimer's and Alzheimer's awareness. You think you're reading an article about something, some new treatment or something that might be helping, and then you get about 3/4 or towards the end and it said, well, this is an experimental drug and they're still doing hopeful research, and by only you finding out that it was a total article, wasted 20 minutes, 30 minutes of your time to find out there is no actual cure for this or no pill that's really doing anything. And it's really to get you to read these articles so that you can notice the ads on the side. And they're not trying, these are, some of them are notable medical journals or whatever. And they're not really there to help you. They're there to profit off of the disease, not to help cure it and truly bring awareness to it. So, you know, we said, hey, we've experienced every terrible thing you can think of throughout this journey, just like many of you have. And we want to bring awareness, and we want to help people who are just getting started in this, and they're realizing there's not much as far as help from the government or the state. There's not a lot of answers out there from people who have lived through it truthfully. Only news stories about, you know, the family's emotions regarding the situation, and they like to promote that on the social media channels because they're just bolstering views. So we're here to try to produce a series to help people who have gone through this. It's heart-wrenching, you know, it's terrible, but we need to help people understand. So this is what we're doing. And so if you'd like to get this series, then you can get it. I'll put a link in the description below or in the comments section, and you can get a copy. It goes through all the things that we went through, and some of them will be vital in helping you understand what has happened and what's going on and what you might expect. And so if you make a donation, help us to fund promoting and sharing this with people and getting the word out there, because I believe that things should be more than just awareness. We need to realize that what's going on with this disease is a cover-up. Okay, it's not popular to say these things, but this disease, like in England, it's, I think, the third leading cause of death and disease right now, getting up there. And when you go to visit the doctor, let's say the neurologist, their answer for you is, they have no answer whatsoever about help or anything. All they are willing to do is prescribe some antipsychotics or antidepressant drugs and things like that, which is utterly ridiculous. Brain scientists, doctors are being restricted from the top down. So for whatever reason this disease has happened, I believe it's been manufactured. It's up to us to share and find answers and look for hope and things that might help, especially people in early stages, help their loved ones preserve their minds from this. And I talk about this in the series, what we have discovered could be a lot of leading causes to this illness and what's happening to all of us. Every person in the civilized countries are being exposed to this and are prone to maybe getting it as we get older. So anyway, Dan Collier for Alzheimer's and Love. I hope this helped you with some information about UTIs and getting it checked, maybe even more than once, even if the labs come back negative and they're still behaving like that. And something's happened very rapidly. Generally, it could be a UTI. All right, check out the link below. Right now, early stages in this, it may say that the series is being edited or something, and it's coming out soon. So you can pre-order this too. If you're seeing this video a little later on, then the series will already be up and you can get it for a donation, helping us out and help us with Alzheimer's and Love. Okay, see you later.